Okay guys, so I'm going to sign into Onshape to create my spinning top. Notice that I have a whole bunch of things in here on my dashboard, but I'm going to go up to the top left and I'm going to click on the create button and I'm going to create a document. Under that document, I want to change the name to spinning top, and I like to add my last name just as again, one more way that me, Mr. Butasov, can actually differentiate between all your designs. So it's going to load, and then with any Onshape project, we have to first start with a sketch. So I'm going to go over to the sketch button. I'm going to click on that, and then it says select a plane. I'm going to do a front plane. So I'm going to select that plane. I'm going to move that box over to the bottom left to get out of my way, and I'm going to get a front view. And then I'm just kind of zooming out a little bit and centering my sketch area. Remember, it can go outside of the sketch space if you need to. But I'm going to start with a line going straight up. I noticed that it is 74, and I realized that's in millimeters, so I select off of my tool, and I need to dimension it. Click on it, realize, oh wait, yeah, that's right, it's 74 millimeters. Let's change our units. So the 3 lines, you can go to workspace units, change it from millimeter to inches. I think yours are default to inches, so just double check. Remember, to get back into your sketch, you just double click that dimension. I can double click on that number and change it to 3, which is going to be the max height your spinning top can be. Okay, I'm making my handle to start, and I'm making it 0.125. But remember, when we use the revolve tool, it doubles this. So it's going to be, actually, my handle is going to be 1/8 times 2, which is a 1/4 inch when I revolve it. I made my handle kind of long, 1 3/4 inches. And then I kind of wanted to do kind of a more organic shape. So I'm going to use a 3-point arc at the top. And 3-point arc is pretty fun. Before that, though, I still need to constrain it. Make sure that mine fits within all of our constraints. So as much as I want to do this arc, I'm going to push the escape button to get out. And I'm going to go to the bottom, the origin, and I am going to create just like this rectangle. Oops, did that wrong. I'm going to click on that rectangle, drag it out. And the first thing I want to do is make this 1.5, because we're going to make like 1/4 of our spinning top right there. And it's still going to be 3 inches. So that space is our works area. So everything that we make in our spinning top has to fit within that space. So I am clicking on them and turning them into construction line. Construction lines don't show up in your design, and so they're nice, just kind of help show you where things need to go. I want to make mine a full 3 inches. You do not need to make yours a full 3 inches wide. So and again, I'm not really measuring this arc. It's more just kind of by feel and kind of like, oh, that kind of looks correct. I don't want to bring my line, my bottom arc, for that kind of the fan on a spinning top all the way to the center line. So I kind of lined it up with the outside of the handle. And I kind of made it a pretty rounded. And then now I'm going to start making our point. That looks way too pointed if I go all the way to 3 inches. So I zoomed in just with my mouse, and I kind of wanted to make it a little shorter point, especially if I'm making a one that I want to like fight other spinning tops. You don't want to have a huge, really sharp point. So I'm going to then look at this, and I have to connect everything. So you see how it's open right here? It's the same color as the background. We need that closed. So I close that side, and then I use an arc to kind of just connect to that center line right there. And you see how it grays out. That grayed out means that it is a closed polygon that I can now actually turn into a 3D shape. I like it, but I noticed there's some sharp edges to it. I don't really want those sharp edges, so I'm going to fillet those. So the same way that we used in part 2, you can drag it or you can set it to whatever you want. For me, 0.25 for that first one. Make sure you're clicking on the actual shape. And you notice how it's really far up here. I'm going to drag it a little bit, so it's like 0.09 for the radius. Kind of a funky but organic shape. And then I'm using the scissors tool at the top to just clean it up. So I'm getting rid of all the things that I don't need. And there's my shape. So now I'm out of it. So I clicked my sketch, and now I need to revolve it. So the revolve tool is just to the right of the extrude button. And I'm going to do new, and it says, okay, what do you want to revolve? Well, that shape. And it says select the axis. So I'm going to click on that box, and then click on my axis, and then boom, it just revolves around that very center line. And there's my shape, or there's my spinning top. It's a pretty simple build. There's a couple things I just need to make sure that, well, it was one, in my fit within my size constraints. Two, it has a nice point that's centered. But I don't know, it seems like a little heavy. So I'm actually wanting to get rid of some of this extra material. But because it's rounded, I can't sketch on a rounded plane. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to make a new plane off of this bottom one. So with just over here, there's a plane button. It looks like a square with another square kind of inside of it. Going to click on that. And then we want to offset it. Sorry, I kind of mess up here. I look through and I'm like, oh, wait, is it this one? No, it's not that one. I don't want to offset the surface. I'm like, oh, wait, that's trying to do something. Nope, that's not what I want. So then again, I'm just hiding the ones that I don't need because they're kind of getting in the way. I'm going to go back up here. You can click on the plane button. There it is. It says, okay, select the plane. Well, we're going to click that one. And then it says offset. You can use the arrow, and I'm just dragging it just above where my rounded surface is. And I kind of was like, oh, it's 0.132. I'm just going to type in 1.3 just to make it nice and rounded. And now I can sketch on that new plane that I just created. And so I can click on that. You don't have to do this if you have like a flat surface for that like fan. And then I'm going to make like a cool little shape with some cutouts. So I first started using the circle button, or the circle geometry, and using the origin, drawing it out to the edge, not the full edge, but 2.7 inches. So, and then I'm going to create some cool shapes. So I'm going to cut out some like little strips out of this. And so I'm going to go into my 3-point arc. I'm going to take it, drag it to that center, and just kind of get like a nice subtle edge to it. But I can't cut all the way to the very dead center. That would cut out my handle too. So I'm going to go back up to the circle, start on that origin. And again, it's up to you about what you want these dimensions, if you even want to do this. But I set it to 1.2, so it's got a nice solid material. But in that center area is where I'm going to be cutting some things out. So again, I just randomly went and dragged out, was like, okay, how much do I want to cut out? And I'm going to cut out that. Now I want these evenly spaced. Symmetry is really important in these spinning tops. So again, I use the scissors to cut out. I'm going to cut out that open space right there. But there's a circular pattern button at the top right next to the mirror. And I can click on the two lines, and it will center it right there. Sometimes the center is off. You can click that square and just drag it over to the origin. But see how it kind of rotates it around that point evenly? Well, I want, instead of 3, I want 6 of them. So I'm just going to click the OK. And they show up. It's kind of hard to see in the video, but you can see that they're floating on the plane that's just above my shape. And then I'm actually going to extrude these. So I'm going to click on them right there. But instead of add under extrude, I'm going to click the remove button. And that just removes all of that material. So I get kind of a more like spinning chop look to mine. It's nice and all, but I noticed that, oh, there's a little lip to my shape. You see how there's like a little lip right there that I'm highlighting. And I want to kind of try and get rid of it a little bit because that's going to make it a little bit more difficult to print. And so I'm selecting all the edges, and I'm actually going to round those over. So I'm going to use the 3D fillet tool right here. And what it did is it kind of made a more of a like an arced look to it. I'm going to kind of like see, I wanted to actually expand it. And so that's going to kind of make this cool kind of rounded, more organic shape. And again, I just changed the radius to be like 3, 4. Yep, I'm going to click the green check mark to say, yes, this is part of my design. Click right there. And I have finished my spinning top. So one, it's 3 inches or less, so it's a little shorter than 3 inches. It's 3 inches wide. It's got a point that's centered. Everything is symmetrical and well balanced around the very center point where it's going to be spinning. So I'm going to go to the bottom left, right click on part 1, change the file name to, again, I'm going to say top Butasov. Again, just one way to identify it. We want the format to be an STL, and then millimeter for units, leave everything. You're going to click the export button, and then you're going to add it to the spinning top project. Good luck, guys.